Let's go.
Are you ready to do it?
Yeah, I'm ready to do it.
Good morning. Let's try this one more time.
Let's try this again.
Welcome to this episode of Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. I'm Richard.
And I'm Noah. And I
And
sound like death. Probably. Apologies.
yeah, you're fine. I got nothing to follow that up with, so let's
Let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about a movie that has gotten, from what I've seen, a lot of praise. Came out recently. Probably was a feat for movie theaters, meant to be seen in movie theaters. Dune, the remake, the reboot, after they made an attempt in the 80s.
it was in the early 80s, yes.
80s. And we're here to ask the question, was it any good?
Oh, wow.
So you have the unique perspective of having seen the original
in
theater when it came out.
Yes.
And now we have this new one, which we watched in my house and learned that I can kind of replicate a movie theater in my living room.
Oh, that sound system. Holy smokes, that was incredible.
The floor was shaking.
Yes, it was.
All right. So this new movie, let's talk about this new movie. What did you think? Because we have not talked about it really in depth since we watched it 2 days ago. We've had some time to sleep on it. We've had time to think on it. What do you think?
The most exciting thing that happened on Saturday night was my car breaking down on the way to your apartment. That's it. Okay, thank you for tuning in this week. Well, let's see. This was Dune Part 1. I don't want to see Part 2.
Okay, that you did say. You knew what jokes you wanted to make.
I have a ton of those. I don't think this remake needed to be made.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
Not a fan.
I think that this movie is good for people who really like the novel.
Okay.
1963 novel, Frank Herbert.
I think.
Dune. I've never read it. I have absolutely no desire to read it based on the movies. Now, it might be a fantastic story. I might truly enjoy it. And if I'm ever suffering from insomnia, I might pick it up and read it. But I joke, but actually I have discovered very good novels because nothing else to read, nothing interests me, pick something up and try it.
Yeah.
Here's when you know the movie isn't hitting the right beat with an audience. I did two things during this movie. I played guess the actor, and I kept saying to myself, "Oh, that's where Lucas got it from. Oh, that's where Lucas got it from." I got, where did the Force come from? Well, it was that band of witches that was it Paul's mother came from, right?
Yeah, the Gene Bezeret.
Yeah, something like
that. That's another thing that's. I'll get into that.
Okay, it's
just
so,
go.
Well, no, I mean it was just it was stuff like that we've got the Spice Federation, the Mining Guild, the classic battle for control of natural resources. Okay, that was not too bad, but I didn't understand. The movie didn't go into any particular detail about why this stuff was so valuable, except that it was critical for space transport. But it doesn't go into why or how. There's no tech behind the sci-fi.
There's a line that says that people use spice to focus when they're going through hyperspace, and I think that's all the context you get for why this is such a valuable resource. Yes. Oh, and it makes your eyes blue, so it makes you more attractive.
There you go. Yeah. When the computer changes the color of your eyes,
because they're like glowing blue.
What just occurred to me, I was just thinking here, the Fremen, who have been living on this planet, that everything's so forgettable. It's been 48 hours, and I can't even remember the names names.
Yeah.
Half the characters are half the people. That's how uninteresting this movie is to me.
Yeah.
They reminded me of the Afghanis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have been invading their country for years, and they've just been persevering and eventually, winning just through attrition.
Yeah.
Which keeps happening over and over again, and that's the premise in this movie.
Yeah.
That's
a fair comparison. Yeah.
And then, other people come into battle for control of the resources, and then you have a space war.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is war for control of oil, except oil is now a brown dust that lays on the top of sand.
Yeah, exactly.
Is exactly what this conflict is.
And the biggest thing that you have to, worry about is the moving Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, there's where Lucas got it from.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing that we've mentioned this because we talked about this a couple times, is that this, you can really see where George Lucas got a lot of his ideas if you look at the sci-fi of the era before Star Wars came in.
Yes.
And this is a good example of it because, the worms very much resemble the Sarlacc pit, except they move underground and they burrow up. The spice, literally spices in Star Wars. I don't think it gives you hyperspace powers, but literally it looks exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
It looks exactly the same. We saw it in Boba Fett. We saw Cobb Vanth kick it over and let it go out to the wind. It's paprika. Looks like paprika. It's just a brown dust, and Star Wars has that now. You're looking at it and you're going, okay, I see this. And then if you look at Valerian, the old comics, the old French comics, Lucas took stuff literally directly off the page for Star Wars. But then you also made the observation, okay, because that sounds like we're ripping on George Lucas. And I guess to a certain extent, it kind of is. Like, oh, you took the visual similarities, whatever. But what George Lucas did is he took those elements and he didn't make them the focus of his story. He took visual inspiration, took it from the page, took it from the novel, put it into a world where you still care about the characters that he created. Say what you want about, script writing or hokey acting, but at a certain point, you do actually have a little bit of investment into Luke Skywalker, into Han Solo, into Princess Leia, into Chewbacca, and that's what good stories do. A bad story can be carried by good characters, but a good story can't be carried by bad characters.
Well, I'm not even certain that this is a good story, but I made the observation. Your brother made the observation. He was with us watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care about the characters. There wasn't a character in there that I truly found interesting, except maybe the son.
Okay.
There was a little bit of intrigue in that. Clearly, his mother has been giving him some training in whatever mystical art she was raised in.
Of course.
Okay. So, he's got some powers. The big question is, what are they and to what extent?
Uh-huh.
But there's a little bit of cheating going on here.
Mm-hmm.
The old writing gimmick. Your main character can't pull out a gun and shoot someone dead if the gun hasn't been first established.
Yes.
And so you have
Chekhov's gun.
Is that what it is?
The literary tool where if you focus on something if you purposely bring attention to something, it has to come into play later.
Yes.
That's a Chekhov's gun. Yeah.
So
otherwise it's a Deus Ex Machina. If they pull it out afterwards, it's a Deus Ex Machina. Like the Eagles coming to save Sam and Frodo in the Lord of the Rings.
I haven't seen that yet.
I know.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
We're
gonna have to eventually. But
twice. Was it? It wasn't Lord of the Rings. It was The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
I made it through 50 pages, and then I wanted to hang myself. It was just horrible, and I've done that twice, and it's just like, oh my goodness, where is the story going? It isn't worth my time. Right? Put it away. I kind of had that feeling with this movie. To be totally honest with you.
Oh yeah.
I was enjoying the company watching it more than I was enjoying the movie. I was enjoying your dog sitting on my lap more than I was enjoying watching the movie. But so this character, I wanted to see, where he was going, what he was doing, and I'm looking at this young actor I've never seen before, and I'm wondering what his acting chops are.
Yeah.
He was the one character that I wasn't playing, name the actor, because I clearly didn't know who he was. But you can take a big budget movie like this and you can fill it with as many top name stars as you want to. Those top name stars aren't going to save the movie.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not.
And that was exactly what was going on with this movie. So it was like, oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. Wow, he looks different from the last time I've seen him. Yep. Oh, I know. But ultimately, it was like, well, you kind of got the feeling you knew that everyone was going to die.
Yeah.
It was like, so how soon does Dad get bumped off?
Yeah.
How soon does the head of the army get bumped off?
Yeah.
How soon does the fighter?
Yeah.
But you
the
see
pilot, the Jason Momoa character.
Exactly.
Because you have so many. You have Oscar Isaac.
Right.
Who's a fantastic actor.
Yes, he is.
As we've established, because he was good in this movie.
Yes, he
and
was.
We're loving him in Moon Knight.
Yes.
And
the dude can grow a serious beard.
He can. Speaking of coming soon, subscribe to see that one, because I'm really excited to talk about that. You've got Josh Brolin.
Right.
Who's also a fantastic actor.
Yes.
He did a really good job as Thanos through the layers of CGI.
Right.
Just his voice alone. Jason Momoa is a decent actor. We've seen him. He physically...
Nice fight sequence
Nice fight sequence.
Yep.
Although I have my gripes. We'll get into that. And then you've got Zendaya, who... I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Zendaya to judge her one way or another on her acting chops.
Right.
She seems to have this thing. I don't know if it's her acting coach or whoever, her agent on set, that tells her that squinting off into the distance makes you look mysterious and powerful, because she spends half her movies doing this. I'm not going to give her too much crap because she was good in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how she was in the other two. But, she just does that through the movie.
This is the first time I saw her on screen, and in part one, she didn't have enough screen time for me to make a judgment.
Exactly. So I'm not going to rip into her too much. But, you've got all these big names, and mostly you're not doing anything with their talent. That's the problem with bringing so many big names in. You have Dave Bautista, who's okay. I wouldn't say he's a phenomenal actor. He's not going to be winning any Academy Awards, but he can do the job. He's physically imposing. He's there. You can see when he's on screen.
I don't know his character's name.
Yeah,
I don't know his character's motivations.
Nope.
Other than he's leading this guild that got kicked off the planet.
Yep.
He's angry because they're losing lots of money.
Yep.
He wants to take it all back. But other than that, it's just... I got the feeling he was no better than a cartel lord who's upset because he's losing his profit, which means I'm not going to care about him. And my reaction was, oh, there's Dave Bautista.
Yep.
I haven't seen him since Guardians.
Yep. The bad guy, whose name I guess is Vladimir, which I only know because we had to turn on the subtitles halfway through the movie, which we'll get into that in a second.
Oh yeah.
Just a stereotypical one-dimensional villain that has no motivation other than I want the profit.
Yeah.
Literally, he goes on a tirade about kill all the Fremen and start selling our stuff slowly so that we can still make a profit and recover. It's like literally this guy's entire motivation is profit.
Yes.
It's not like he found something on the planet that he desperately wants to control.
Right.
Like he didn't find some mysterious, powerful artifact or anything, or see a vision of the future where if he doesn't take action, then ruin is going to come to them all. Even that would have been more interesting than his motivation.
It would have been understandable.
You would have at least given him a reason to understand. The dad, played by Oscar Isaac, Leto. Yeah, I think is his name.
Right.
they tried to give him some character when he has that conversation with his son about responsibility, their duty.
Right.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't enough to invest me into the character, because you're sitting there and you're looking at him tell his son the responsibility of being there and how he had to give up his dream of being a pilot, and I'm just sitting there going, all right, so is he going to die 20 minutes from now or 40 minutes from now? Because this is a long movie. He could die at any point.
So they hit the perfect beat that they had to hit to make him the really good dad, because he said, no matter what happens, the most important thing you can be is my son. Okay, yeah, he said.
Okay,
he said the
and
right
that was
thing.
A good line.
It was a good line. But it was slightly contrived, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say slightly.
Well, and then the things that were interesting when he has his very brief argument with his they called her concubine. They never did get married.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. His wife, common law wife. He said, basically he knew she was a part of this Jedi-esque guild.
Yeah.
And basically screamed, "What did you do to my son?"
Yeah.
Right. And that would have been more interesting for me to explore in a movie than anything that was actually taking place.
Yep.
So, real quick, go back to before we went down a side street. The son is having visions.
Yes.
And some of those visions come true.
Oh,
and
yeah.
some of those visions don't.
Yes.
And some of them don't because he makes a choice to do something differently.
Yeah.
And what we don't get to see is how does he determine which visions to trust and which visions to not trust. That is an interesting question I would like to have answered.
That is probably the most interesting part of the entire film.
This begs the question, what are they leaving out of the novel?
Yeah.
And so when Dune came out the first time, it was as confusing and boring and uninteresting as this version. And one of the things that I hoped for with this version of Dune was that they would do something differently that would make me understand the story, care about the story. I'll tell you how bad the original Dune was.
Yeah.
We had this thing on the submarine I was on called Hacker Theater. Hacker Theater started at 11 o'clock at night, where the people who were off duty would set up a film projector and they would show a movie.
Yeah.
And the worse the movie was, the more it was played. And they would play these bad movies over and over again. And we got movies straight from Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes we had first run movies on the boat. And if they were bad, they would play over and over and over again. Okay. And I was in the galley cooking right off the mess decks. I heard these things every night over and over again. Dune was so bad, it never qualified for Hacker Theater. It was so disinteresting and boring, no one would watch it a second time. Okay? I have heard Porky's about 143 times. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or not.
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I have not.
All right. But, Dune, really bad. And so I was very disappointed because they didn't do anything to make this movie any different or any more interesting. They just made better graphics.
Yeah, really. It's just better graphics. Because it looks fantastic.
It is.
The sound design is good-ish, except I can't hear what's going on half the time. What is with movies being released as a home version? Okay, in a theater, I bet if I had watched this in theater, I would have heard every whispered line of dialogue. I bet I would have been able to make out every whispered line of dialogue, and then when the music swelled and the loud noises happened, it wouldn't completely make my ears bleed.
Right.
All right. But when it comes to Blu-ray, or it goes to Netflix, or it goes to whatever streaming service, or it comes out on DVD, if you try to play it, the whispers are so freaking quiet. It's like trying to listen to a church mouse, and you have to crank the volume, and then immediately following the whisper scene is explosions and loud music and all of a sudden the freaking dishes are rattling in my apartment because my subwoofer can shake the foundation of this entire building. It's insane. It's insane. It was a problem. We had to turn on subtitles just to see what people were saying half the time.
That's
a problem.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was something that happened in the theaters, but you'd have to tell us viewers because we never saw it in the theater.
Yeah, we didn't get to see it in theaters. But
yeah, and I had heard about it, but honestly, I had no desire to go see it, and with good cause. I mean, Saturday night just confirmed that.
Yeah.
So
I was recommended it. I said, okay, I've heard good things. I hope they're right. They weren't.
I might have to read the novel just to see if this is another case of Hollywood makes the mistake of going for action instead of character development.
There's not much action in this. Like when you really think in the grand scheme of it, there's not much action, and it's not great because you've got this really cool concept. Okay? You got this really cool concept that they actually kind of show is that they've got this projective shield, okay? And if something's moving too fast, the shield deflects it. So you've got this futuristic society that's resorting to using swords and spears when obviously guns are a thing.
Right.
But they've got these shields that are it would make sense that they're impenetrable to bullets. Because they show him like trying to hit himself with the sword,
right?
And it stops. But when it goes too slow, the shield turns red and it starts to go through. Like that's a cool concept.
It is a cool concept.
That's a cool concept. And then you ruin the entire fight scenes by having this blue holographic shield blur all the action. I can't tell what they're doing. The minute the sword gets to here, all of a sudden the action's lost because the person being hit is all of a sudden surrounded by Leia Ghost. Hologram! Jedi Yoda, Ghost Yoda shows up out of nowhere to protect this person. I can't tell what's going on. The best fight scene was when Jason Momoa was fighting them because I could actually see kind of what was going on. And that's because they zoomed out the camera enough where you could see the motions.
Right.
But when you hide half your action behind blue shielding, I can't tell what's going on. I can't see the precision of the movements. I can't tell if there were good swings or not. And that begs the question, were these fight scenes really just actually that bad and they just had the cop-out of covering them up with shields so that you couldn't tell?
Probably not.
I can't tell.
Probably not. You know, it's probably just your standard choreograph.
It probably
is.
Miss
the swing by, 3 feet and
and hide it with the camera
right.
angle, which is what everyone does. But like, I can't tell because the other good fight scene is in the main character Paul's hallucination where he's wearing the suit. And he's like diving and jumping and stabbing people, and it's 5 seconds long. It's like, really? You're trying to sell me on this action, and you only give me 5 seconds of clear, good action? Come on.
Well, so I tell you what, the suit reminds me. There is one thing that I found interesting, and I kind of picked up on it before it was explained in the movie that I thought was really cool. The idea of a suit that in arid environments recycles your sweat and your body's, water in your waste and everything and turns it into usable water. That's a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
But when they did that with the tent that Paul and his mother in, that was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that little 5-second part of the movie, that was really cool. These are really cool. So
they have good world building in this movie, and I feel like that's the entire thing is that they have so much lore
that they have to cover.
It's like I don't get that with movies. Because this is part 1, and I'm assuming there's going to be a part 2 where they actually tell the freaking story. But the story in this one took a back seat to trying to explain this is the planet. These are the people.
Right.
Here's the machine that we use to harvest this stuff. Here's how we get it out. Oh, here's a sandworm. Here's what attracts the sandworm. Here's a 2-foot-long device that's designed to distract the sandworm. Right.
Here's a boy, and is he the chosen one? That was the other thing. The chosen one to inherit more than one house. He's a prince in one house, and he's going to save two different houses. And
Yeah.
is this, my first thought when I saw the girl, oh, this is Romeo and Juliet in space. That was the other thought I had on this. Was that, right. So, I'm watching the clock on the bottom of the video screen, and I think I have said pretty much everything I need to say about Dune. Is boring. It's disinteresting. You can't make a movie that's 2 hours set up for. I'm supposed to trust that the payoff in part two is going to be worthwhile. Good.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I might watch it if it. We want to talk about it again in the future to follow up this one, but
if you want to see us suffer again. I guess we can.
I really do think this must be a niche audience.
Yeah,
thing.
I think it is. Yeah. I think this was a cinematographer / sound editor, directors like fantasy to watch.
Gotcha.
It's like you've got these grand sweeping shots, and it's very artistically done. It's well done. You got these gorgeous landscapes, and you've got these gorgeous worlds and set pieces and set design, and it's really well done. Mm-hmm. Except you've got nothing good going on.
So now I would really love to know what everybody else thinks about this, because I didn't think the original movie of Dune was worth seeing, and I've never seen it again.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I
didn't even know there was one until this one came out, and people were calling it a reboot. It was like, oh, they actually tried that in the 80s?
This new modern Dune, very definitely not worth seeing. If you haven't, don't waste your time. This doesn't even fall into the category of a good way of burning 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon.
No, there's nothing. It's not even so bad it's good.
I would rather.
There's no entertainment in how bad it is. But tell us, did you enjoy it? And if you did, why? I'm genuinely curious. And what did you find entertaining about this? And I'm not saying that in a derogatory, negative, like.
What are we missing?
Yeah. What did we not see?
So
because I don't. Yeah. There's nothing for me there. But comment what you think down below.
And hit the subscribe button if you like our videos. If this is the first one you're seeing, check out the others, because
there's a lot of discussions.
And
a lot of discussions on things we actually like.
Actually, most of them are about things.
Most of them are pretty positive.
This might be the first video we've made where we both actually really dislike the movie that we saw.
Yeah, except for Thor Ragnarok, which was our first one. Well, you really
disliked I didn't like
it.
Thor.
I was mad on it.
You were mad, yeah.
But thank you everyone so much for watching.
I hated Thor Ragnarok. If you haven't seen that one, go find it and watch it. Yeah.
It's a good one. Okay.
I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just, Thank you everyone so much for watching. Let us know what you think down below. Subscribe if you want to see some more. And we'll see you next time.